Okay, we got it up. This is Tom Stiles and it's Tom's Real Room Show, and I'm a little tired. I had to put that up by myself. My neighbor that normally helps me has been really busy and I got tired of waiting. So let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, there it is. It's my HDTV antenna, and it's about 22 feet in the air, and I'm going to compare it to, if I can get it in the frame, is my newer, there's so much light out here I can't tell, disc cone antenna, which is about the same height. So that's the plan. We'll go back inside. It took me about 2 hours to get everything together, and one of the reasons was I ran into the problem that somebody described on a comment on Amazon where I got this, where they're, let me turn the radio down, where their pole, their mast they were going to use was too big, and the little mounting piece on the antenna would not go over the mast. And I was hoping that it was because they use the wide end. There's a wide end and a narrow end where they interlock, so you can add sections. And sure enough, it would not even fit on the narrow end. Now, the mast that I use is quite old, and I thought, well, maybe it's out of round or it had a bunch of corrosion on it. So I filed on it for about an hour with a hand file, trying to get it all smoothed down so that that little mounting piece on the antenna would fit over it. Well, it would fit over it, but it was really snug, which meant as the temperature changed and that pole expanded, it probably cracked it because it's that tight. And so I gave up on that finally, and I found another smaller piece of tubing, quite a bit smaller, and I attached that to the mask, and then I used that to couple into the mount on the antenna, which left a pretty big gap, maybe even too much. But it had some tightening screws on it, so I tightened those up, and it felt fairly secure. Now I'm about to get a drink. Sorry, I'm kind of exhausted. I'm working out there in the yard. So I got that finished, and the next part, which is really where I need my neighbor, is to hoist that 20 foot plus another 5 foot or 3 foot of the short piece up in the air, up against my eave where there's a mounting bracket. Well, I struggled with that, finally got it, and I'll be wasted this afternoon, but I finally got it. And I initially took the control box outside and made sure that the antenna would still rotate, which it did. And then I brought the cable in, hooked it back up the control box, checked again that it was rotating, and then I hooked it up to my Uniden BC780 scanner that I have in my workshop. And I did a bunch of tests, which took a lot of time. And one of the problems I was struggling with is the controller for the motor that rotates this antenna. It's rotatable. Has one button, and the way it works is that when you push the button, it starts rotating. And it rotates until it hits a stop, and then it will reverse itself and rotate the other direction. As I said before, there's no indication where the antenna is pointing, and there's no indication what direction it's rotating, because you got one button. The other way you can change directions is after you've run it for a little bit, you stop, let it sit for I think 3 to 5 seconds, and then it automatically switches to the other direction. Which presented a problem in that I had to push the rotate button for a while and then stop and then go outside and see where it was pointing. And then by the time I got back in the house and pushed the button again, it reversed direction and was going the other way, which is may not be what I wanted, because maybe I didn't go far enough in the original direction. So that was driving me nuts. But I could have cured that by rotating it for a while, going out and checking it, pushing the rotate button for a couple of seconds, and let it rotate back, wait 3 to 5 seconds, push it again, then it would be rotating in the direction I wanted. But all this time I have no idea where it's pointing. So it does have a remote control. Unfortunately, remote control, which you would expect on a cheap setup like this, is infrared. So it's line of sight. So what I did, so that I could stand in the doorway and kind of glance at the antenna to see where it was pointing, let me see if I can get in the screen. Might already be in the screen. See what I can do here. That right there, right here, is the control box, and I just got it hanging in the air so it's above everything else, so that I can get a line of sight with this thing from the door. What a pain. What a pain. So basically, when I'm not testing, and I'm just using this thing, let's go back to the desktop. I would just push the button and wait for the strongest signal. I won't care where it's pointed. Although you would like, because you probably have some idea where the transmitter is that you want to listen to. So you'd want to point it that way, but whatever. Okay, so what I did is, using my BC 780 scanner, I tested it using 2 antennas. The 2 antennas that hopefully I showed you, which is the new antenna and my newer discone antenna. And of course they're 20-30 feet apart, so that's one factor that's going to be a variable. And they're not at the same height, and they got different trees around, so there's a whole bunch of factors there. Totally uncontrolled test. So here's the results. So what I did is, initially I had the new antenna, directional antenna I'll call it, hooked up to the radio, and I tested it with the amplifier on that it has in it and with the amplifier off, just to see if the amplifier was doing anything. And I used, mainly because it's a continuous signal and it will be there throughout my test, could fluctuate a little bit, is I used the NOAA weather stations that are near me, of which I can receive 2 or 3 out of the 7. Okay, so here's my results. With the antenna, the directional antenna, and the amplifier turned on, channel 1, I received full 6 bars. That's the maximum on my scanner. And it was very good. It was full strength, full signal, fine, worked fine. Channel 2, I had 6 bars, but I just had a noisy signal. Nothing really there. Now this was all with the antenna set at the initial place that I put it, which was pointing east. And these antennas, since I'm on the coast, should be east of me. All of them should be east of me. East, northeast, and southeast. So initially the antenna was pointed east for this test. So channel 3, I got 6 bars, no signal, just 6 bars of noise. Channel 4, I got 6 bars, nothing, just noise. Channel 5, I got 6 bars and the signal was perfect. Channel 6, I got 6 bars of noise. So you got a little trend here, picking up a lot of noise. Channel 7, I got 4 bars and noise on it. So then I turned the antenna off, the amplifier. And I got, for channel 1, I got 2 bars, nothing. Channel 2, I got 1 bar. Channel 3, I got 0 bars. Channel 4, I got 1 bar. Channel 6, I still got 6 bars, and the signal was perfect without the amplifier on. Okay, channel 6, nothing. Channel 7, nothing. So, sure enough, with the amplifier off, I lost signal strength. I also, with the amplifier on, I had full 6 bars, but it was just noise. So we're just bringing in noise. Interesting. Okay. Now, then I went on to test the new antenna with my disc using the same frequencies, same 7 frequencies. Okay, with the new antenna, channel 1 was 6, perfect. With the discone, 6, perfect, no difference. Channel 2, with the new antenna, I had 1 or 2 bars, no signal. With the discone, nothing at all. On channel 3, I had 2 bars with the new antenna and a weak signal. On my discone, nada, 0, nothing. On channel 4, I had 1 bar, nada, nothing. With the new discone, nothing. Channel 5 on the new antenna was 6 bars and it was perfect. On the discone, there was 6 bars and perfect. On channel 6, it was 2 bars and there was some noise. Couldn't hear any station. On the discone, 0. And on channel 7, there was 1 bar, no signal, nada. On the discone, 0. So, with the discone on channel 1 and channel 5, I got the NOAA channel that apparently is the closest, and it came in perfect. I got no intermittent other results from the discone. The radio was dead, basically. It wasn't picking up anything. The new antenna with the amplifier on was picking some noise up, and on channel 3 I did get a weak signal from my NOAA station. So, now, moving right along. Okay, now I tested the new antenna and the new antenna only, and then I changed directions of the antenna to see the effect. Like I said, the NOAA weather stations I should be receiving should be southeast, west, or, no, excuse me, wrong. Southeast, east, northeast of me, over on that spectrum. Nothing to the west, because to the west is the Gulf of Mexico. So, going back and verifying with it pointing east, channel 1, 6 bars, perfect. Channel 2, 6 bars noise. Channel 3, 6 bars weak signal. Channel 4, 4 bars noise. Channel 5, 6 bars perfect. Channel 6, 4 bars noise. Channel 7, 6 bars and a weak signal. That was east. Okay, then I rotated it west, which is the opposite direction, and this is supposed to be a directional antenna. So theoretically, I should have gotten nothing or much weak signals. To just summarize, the west direction, it was basically the same. Slight difference, slight reduction in signal, but basically the same. So then I pointed the antenna southeast. So it should have been close to some of the stations. And the only difference there was on channel 4, I had a 5 to 6 bars and the signal was coming and going, but it was there. So there was an improvement. And everything else was the same. Then I pointed it northeast, which there might be some local antennas for NOAA northeast, I don't know. And I got, on channel 1, I got 6 bars perfect. At channel 5, 6 bars perfect, just like before, and everything else was about the same. So, in conclusion, if you can reach a conclusion, I did, in this limited experiment, only looking at the NOAA weather channel, which is at 162.4.5 in that range, megahertz, using my scanner antenna, it did improve the signals slightly over my disc cone antenna. Again, there's a lot of variables there, location, height, even the coax cable. You know what? This new antenna came with a brand new coax cable that I use. My disc cone has a cable, it's probably 5 or 6 years old, yeah, but it is a new antenna. I got it like last year. So it should be working pretty good. And I've always had good results with those little Radio Shack disc cone antennas. They've always worked very good. So that's the conclusion. Couple of things about the antenna itself. Like I said before, the plastic was kind of cheap. I doubt if it will hold up under the Florida weather. I wasn't able to really mount it properly. And what else? Oh, and of course it's got this very limited controller, and it does have remote control. The remote control does work. It is an IR remote control, so it's line of sight. So if you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up, or even better, do a share. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go take a shower and rest. Bye-bye. Hope that recorded.